Hello, my name is Willie Easter Jr. and this is Easter Dead of Dream Film and Books coming at you. This is an update on the RSI reviews and ratings from the Indeed website. Now, RSI have changed their name to American Woodmark Corporation of Lincoln, North Carolina. And if you notice, the rating is still 3.0. And they got something like 180 reviews. I mean, this is pretty much what it is now. American Woodmark Corporation, Lincoln, North Carolina. And you got employee reviews. And you still have the rating breakdown. Remember, I'm pretty much going towards the one in Lincoln, but a lot of them pretty much complain about the same things. Now here's one that says he's giving it a 4.0. Okay to work for. That's out of Lincoln. This is pretty much recent, April 7th, 2019. Was okay place, just management needs to treat employees better. They treat you unfairly to a point, but other than that, the job itself was gravy. I assembled cabinets. Pros none, cons need longer breaks. And you notice they're taking a lot of these ratings from different locations. This is from Dallas, Texas. So you have to take into account. The only one I'm reviewing is one in Lincoln, the place I worked at. And this is another guy. He was a assembler. He's a former employee from Lincoln, North Carolina. This is March 26, 2019. And he says, unless you've done this sort of work before, I wouldn't recommend it. Extremely physical and fast-paced will burn you out. If you have health issues, don't. It's not a good place to work. If you have done it before, it might be fine for some. Pros, benefits and hours. Cons, heavy lifting. You talk about pay, you talk about health and health issues. Well, I agree with some of that. I agree with some of that because, like I said in the previous video, when I worked there, I preferred the fast pace and being physical, because I work out a lot to keep myself in shape. And when it's fast paced and physical, you don't have time to stand around and bullshit with nobody. Some people like a slow environment that way they can stand around and bullshit and keep a lot of strife stirred up. But when you're in a place where you have to actually work, a lot of people don't like that type of environment. But like I said earlier, if you go in there with a thin skin, you don't want to work, you basically just want to stand around, you're not going to survive. That's bottom line. Here's another one from Dallas, Texas, on March 24th. And he pretty much said the same thing. And this is from Dallas, Texas, a cabinet builder, former employee. And he says, no future. Hard on the body, low wages for the work. Now, I really can't comment on that right there because that's Dallas, Texas. Formerly RSI, now American Woodmark, is the new company name. But they still have RSI management that are still on the RSI rules and tradition with low wages, and I worked there for 2 years and just made $10 an hour. Raises every year at 20 cents. Oh yeah, you would be judged about your attendance, but not by your work or performance. And that's true. Because a lot of people in there who actually work in that place had a good work attitude. Now, very few. A lot of them were pickers when I was there. They were the top pickers. But it's the attendance policy that got a lot of them fired and being late. And when you have a policy like that, you constantly create a revolving door where you got new employees coming in just to be retrained all over again. And each time you do that, production goes down. Because now you done got rid of the top employees who can actually do the job. But understand, it is the rules about attendance. And if you don't follow the rule, they get rid of you. Remember, again, that's Dallas, Texas. This is another one from Lincoln. Saw operator, former employee. This is from February 4th, 2019. And he says, it was great for the first 6 to 9 months. When my management left, everything went downhill fast. They cut 70% of their workers, had us running 10 hours of overtime, busting our butts to get things done. Management was lazy. Sometimes they didn't let us use the bathroom. And that is true in a certain point of view. Because when I was there, you actually had, I call them entry-level thinkers. Because when you're in an environment like this, understand you get people who think on an entry-level, like what they call entry-level jobs. You go to the bathroom, they'll actually run to the bathroom behind you and be trying to look under the stall to see if you're trying to do the number 2. I got disgusted one day, and I wrote on a piece of cardboard, I'm trying to take a shit. Keep the bathroom door locked. I mean, that's the type of idiotic behavior these type of people have. Entry-level employee, I guess, to get no home life, they have to continually bring whatever they do at home on the street into the work environment. That's something I never did. I keep my work environment and my home environment separated. I don't take home to work, and I don't bring work home. And here's another one from Lincoln, back in January 16, 2019, this year. And he says, bad training. And that is true. But you have to understand, if you're somebody who's a slow learner, and you like to stand around and go everything at a slow pace, again, you're not going to survive there. You have to learn that job at their speed, be able to comprehend what's going on, take directions, and pick up on things quick. If you can't do that, best thing for you to do is get your job at a donut shop or McDonald's or a place where you're doing very little work and you can stand around and shoot the breeze and talk. And he says, was let go third day. There, they put me with a lead that knew no English, and a kid, instead of training me, he talked about drugs, hoping to be drug test, and just walked around talking or playing on his phone. I mean, I like the job time few, but I was let go because I was slow. See, there's that word, slow. I didn't know what to do. There was no one training me to do the job. I did what I could, and that all I could have did. He did better writing than that. but I pretty much understand what he's saying. He's basically saying that he did all he could do with the training that was given him. They say it was too slow, which he probably was. When I was there, a lot of people that were slow. They used to slow jobs. Jobs where they can stand around and talk to their buddies all day long and laugh at those who actually want to work. That was a big issue there when I was there. You see them standing around in little groups on the side while you were there doing all the work. They just standing around in the corner, looking at you and laughing at you. What are you doing all that work for? And there's another one from, he was a material handler, current employee, Lincoln plant, January 6, 2019. And management care only about the number. Will work you to the bone, then toss you away when you are unable to meet their demand. If you are white or attractive woman, cakewalk. And that is true. Because when I was there, a lot of the females was more sexually aggressive than some of the men. And they got to the point to where they didn't want some of the men going to the office. And it's like they hated that for some reason. And just to find out, a lot of the managers in there were trying to date the females in the job and in the plant, and they were married men. And like I said before in the previous video, I got a rule which I will always follow. Don't date no female on your job. Don't do it. And this one's a training coordinator, former employee, Lincoln plant, January 4th, 2019. It was all right. Really wasn't too bad, just ended up having to do a lot and keep track of a lot of new managers came in and made a lot of changes. Put an ED on the end of it, and changes. And a lot of new people. And he gave it a 4.0. Pros, overtime, cons, everything else. And I guess he's saying a good old boys club. Well, that's the problem with a lot of ones to be in there. That's why they don't like the Mexicans. They want to turn the planet into a good old boys club where they can hire who they want to and keep more of the blacks out. But you see the way the culture set up, you got Mexicans, blacks, whites, even some true Africans from Africa. You got some people from Cuba. I mean, it's a multicultural workplace. So if you can't get along with other races, don't work there. Bottom line. Manager of operations, former employee. This is not Lincoln, this is somewhere else. California. This place is being run by a terrible director of ops, and even the HR department is a joke because they only help the people in the good old boys club. Wow. Pros, going home. Cons, no loyalty and act like kids with no business being in a management company. That is true, but that's not the Lincoln plant. And this is an older one, which he's a former employee, an auditor, and this took place in November of 2018. Unsafe working conditions, poor management, very fast pace, lots of safety violations, which causes accidents and injury. And it says, good if you need a quick job, but not a career. And that's just it. If you turn a little job like this, which is what it was, so I've been blessed by God with favor and ability to work and put your money away and get success. I wasn't looking at RSI as my source. That's what pisses a lot of people off. When you're not going and trying to praise the job, you're basically going and doing the job to the best of your ability, and you're not putting the job on no pedestal. I don't put no job on a pedestal. But I like the fast-paced work where you go in, you do your job, and you go home. And you don't date the women. That's the downfall of so many of those men in there. They're being trying to chase booty instead of trying to get their money. All he's saying is fast-paced place to work at. Warehouse worker, former employee, North Carolina, November 8th, 2018. And you see what he's saying. And this is pretty much he said, a day at RSI, warehouse worker, forklift operator, current employee, Lincoln, North Carolina, November 2nd, 2018. A typical day at work consists of making sure product is placed in the correct slot for the pickers, ensure that empty pallets are removed from the pick cells and full pallets are put in their place. The hard part of the job as a forklift operator is consistently getting on the office the lift to pull pallets out of the pick cells. The way you get that worded, it looks the hard part of the job as a forklift driver is constantly getting on the office, the lift to pull pallets out of the pick cells. Here's another one from October. Temporary employees with no job security. Fast-paced, cutthroat environment, no communication from management. Extremely physical, demanding, no vacation time, no benefits or insurance. But that's just pretty much an update I wanted to give you. Still got a lot of complaints there. And some like it, some don't. It depends on the location that you actually worked at, and they tell you to write a review. But I tried to write a review one time, and they pretty much blocked it and wouldn't accept it. That's why I done a video. So if you're trying to get a job at American Woodmark, formerly RSI Home Products, do your homework first. Read the comments. Speak to people who formerly worked there. But in the end, you have to pretty much make your own choice. Because what's bad for some people could be good for somebody else. And I agree with what a lot of some people said. The job itself is not a bad job. It's easy to learn if you're willing to learn a job and you want to work. Instead of just standing around shooting the breeze and and want to stand around, smoke weed, and chase booty. If I want to chase booty, it's going to be my own time, not work time. And when I chase booty, it's my business, nobody else's. My business, nobody else's. And I'll say it again, my business and nobody else. Because if you're not married and you got no kids and what you do outside the job is your own business and nobody else's. This is some of the salaries now. Assemblers, now this is probably after you get hired on full-time. But remember, at one time, if you was a temp, you're actually making more money than the full-time employees. That's what a lot of people are upset about. But this is the so-called salary. Assembler, you're making $11, $14 an hour. Pickers, $12, $62. Production workers, $11.50. Warehouse workers, $11.95. Forklift operators, $11.79. Depending on which production and manufacturing, and it goes on like that. Line worker, line assemblers, $11. Saw operator, $12. General workers, you're still making $9.85 an hour. Now remember, when it says 53% think they are paid fairly, they're probably taking data from all of the plants around, not just one particular plant. That's why I say you got to be careful when you read that, because it says based on 141 ratings. They could be rating it from the standpoint of each particular plant on all the different locations, not the Lincoln plant. And what piss a lot of people off about these jobs, I stayed there 3 years and 7 months, and I was bringing in anywhere between $38,000 to $48,000 a year. That's how God blessed me with a home, a new car, and good credit. And it's like they were trying to get you out of that job as fast as they could, so you could lose your home and everything you work for, because they don't believe what type of job lasts long. Because a lot of it's set up, even though you may not want to believe this, a lot of it's set up to keep a revolving door. Once you get max pay and your money's pretty much coming in on a steady pace, it's like they're trying to find reasons to get rid of you. Back on November 24, 2017, I was arrested in my home after I called the police on trespassers. I constantly had problems because I put no trespass signs up to keep people off my property. And there I was going to jail. I stayed in jail for 47 days, ended up losing my job, and came close to losing my home. That pretty much, to me, what the whole thing was all about, trying to find a way to knock you back down after you get back up. Especially in places like backwards Gaston County. If you ever come to Gaston County, you just look around and see what you see. There's really nothing there. It's been the same way for as long as I can remember. Because most of the jobs I get is not in Gaston County. It's elsewhere. The job I got now is in Charlotte, North Carolina, not in Gaston County. And with my shift premium, getting 40 hours a week, I'm making $13 an hour, not $12 an hour. So, can't really say it's a better job, can't really say those things, but it right now it is a job. Put it that way. And that's my update. Again, if you're going to get a job at American Woodmark, that's what it's called now, corporation out of Lincoln, do your research first, because it was formerly named RSI Home Products. And I have no desire to even go back to that company, because, like one guy saying, if you get the same management in there, nothing's really changed. I heard a sermon a couple of years ago from a preacher who was preaching, and it was a pretty good sermon. And he said, don't be fooled by the devil, and don't be fooled by people. They can put on a brand new dress, brand new makeup, brand new haircut, get their hair highlighted, and have the same devilish attitude and the same motives. Nothing really changed under the name. And you're gonna fall into the same trap. So changing the name don't mean nothing if you're not gonna change the culture. If you're not gonna change the job performance. If you're not gonna treat your employees with a better attitude. It's the same management, same attitude. And I recently spoke to a former associate. I was at a gas station getting gas, and we started talking, and he said, how you been, man? I said, I've been fine. He said, you know, the RSI changed their name to American Woodmark Corporation now. So I heard that. I heard it before from someone else. He said, nothing really changed. Nobody's standing there, and it's still got a high rate of people quitting and leaving. And if you've been there for a while, it's like they're looking for a reason to get rid of you. Any real reason. But it's America for you. But the rich want to keep themselves rich. And if you stepping too far ahead and going a little bit too fast and getting a little too much, they try to find a way to knock you back down. Then use excuses. Well, it's your fault. Again, my name is Willie Easter Jr. Be careful when these are little entry-level type jobs, because, like I said earlier, an entry-level thinker was going to always think on an entry level. And they want things to go slow. You see, I got a high metabolism. I don't speak slow. I don't walk slow. I don't do anything slow. Well, within that perspective of working anyway. And if they can't keep up, and when I speak, if it sounds to you, then stay away from me. Because really, if you can't understand what I'm saying, I really don't have anything to say to you, no way. And you got nothing to say to me. Go on about your slow, slug lifestyle and go walk your dog. Or is it your dog walking you? Think on that one. Peace.